A homeless man sat alone on a cold park bench, unaware that one small decision would change his life forever. Every morning, he searched the streets for food and a safe place to rest. Most people walked past him without even making eye contact. Then, something caught his eye. A brown leather wallet was lying on the sidewalk. He picked it up and froze. When he opened the wallet, he couldn't believe what he saw. It was filled with cash, along with several credit cards and an ID. Inside the wallet, he found the owner's ID card. He quietly looked at the name, then made a life-changing decision. Instead of keeping the money, he decided to find the wallet's owner. It was the honest choice, even though he had nothing. After asking several people, one shop owner recognized a man in the ID photo and pointed him toward a nearby office. A few minutes later, he finally reached the office. The owner looked at the wallet, then at the homeless man, completely speechless. "I thought I'd never see this again," the owner said quietly. Every important document and thousands of dollars were still inside. The businessman looked into the homeless man's eyes and asked, "Why didn't you keep the money? No one would have known." The homeless man smiled gently and replied, "Money can buy food, but it can't buy an honest heart. I just did what was right." The businessman stood silent for a moment. Then he reached into his pocket, smiled, and said, "I'd like to offer you a job." The homeless man stood there in complete silence. He had spent years sleeping on cold sidewalks, searching for food every single day. No one had ever offered him an opportunity like this. Looking into the businessman's eyes, he quietly whispered, "Thank you. I won't let you down." The very next morning, he arrived at the office nearly an hour early. He wore the cleanest clothes he could find and nervously waited outside the building. Even though his shoes were old and worn, he stood there with confidence, determined to prove that honesty and hard work could change his future. As he walked through the office doors, some employees looked at him with confusion. They quietly wondered why a homeless man had come into the building, but the businessman immediately walked over, welcomed him with a smile, and introduced him as the company's newest employee. The room suddenly fell silent. During his first week, he worked harder than anyone else. He arrived before everyone, stayed late without complaining, and treated every customer with kindness and respect. Little by little, his coworkers began to admire his dedication. They no longer saw a homeless man. They saw a few months passed and his life began to change. He rented a small apartment, bought new clothes, and finally had a place he could call home. Every morning, he looked in the mirror with pride, remembering that one honest decision had completely changed his future. One afternoon, he walked past the same park bench where he had once slept with nothing but hope. He stopped for a moment, smiled quietly, and remembered the night he found the lost wallet. That single act of honesty had changed everything. Before leaving, he quietly placed a small envelope on the bench. Inside was enough money for someone who needed a second chance, along with a handwritten note that read, "Never lose hope. One honest decision can change your life." Then he smiled and walked away without looking back. Sometimes life doesn't change because of luck or money. It changes because of one honest choice made at the right moment. The homeless man never expected a reward when he returned that wallet. He simply chose to do the right thing. And in the end, kindness found its way back to him. If this story touched your heart, remember, your smallest act of honesty could change someone's life, or even your own.